Leslie Cornwell, certified nurse midwife with Midwifery Business Consultation. This next section is financial planning for birth professionals. I will be mostly focusing on midwives when I do my discussion, but I want to reinforce that doulas, lactation consultants, childbirth educators, any small business owner, birth professional can utilize these business tips that we're going to be talking about today. So legal disclaimer, we put it at the beginning of all of our educational series. It's for general information purposes only, not intended to substitute for legal advice. Everybody's strategy is different. So you want to get a local accountant, lawyer, a local expert that you can discuss your unique situation. Tax strategies change year to year, so we try to give you the most accurate and timely information possible, but just to make sure that you take this amazing suggestion and go to your local experts to implement it with your business. The objective of today's presentation, I want everyone to really understand the importance of financial planning, short-term and long-term, having that financial knowledge, having those strategies, having people on your team that are a resource and an expert in the current rules and regulations is really going to impact the success of your practice, your personal planning, that financial freedom goal we all have, and where we will take things in life. And there's different strategies we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about ways to reduce your risk. We're going to talk about ways to accumulate wealth and ways to distribute that wealth more near retirement and financial freedom so that we can be smart with our money. Definitely want to have financial freedom for all birth workers. We want to be able to serve more families. We want to be able to serve our family better. Your overall health, stress, well-being is going to be so much better when there's multiple revenue streams, there's financial freedom, there's the opportunity of growth and able to dream big. So core foundation to financial success, this is the pillar. When I do a lot of consulting work with midwives and birth professionals, we're making a really strong foundation with their financial plan, with their business structure, with their professional development. And so the things we're going to really focus on today, risk management, wealth accumulation, wealth preservation, and distribution. So those are the key concepts. Some of them aren't as fun to talk about, but they're all really important for you to get to where you want to be short-term and long-term. The importance of financial planning, financial security. If you have multiple revenue streams, you have money coming in while you're awake, when you're sleeping, you're diversified in your business and your personal life, you reduce the risk of having something with a business or a rule or regulation change, and if only your revenue's coming in that direction, or especially midwives, I see it where we solely focus on our income stream of being self-employed, and it's great and it's wonderful, but if you as a midwife all of a sudden can't practice anymore, or you choose to not want to practice and you want to retire, if you don't have that other investment streams, you don't have a plan in place, it makes it very difficult to happen. Enhances risk management. We want to make you aware of all the possible things that could happen, the things you want to be proactive and have good operating agreements, have good plans in place, and have good insurance so that you can be rock solid if that XYZ situation happens, you already have a plan. Financial understanding. I think this one is really interesting with birth professionals because most of the time our personality tends to be more arts, it tends to be creative, it tends to be more of the part of the brain that doesn't want to do analytics, doesn't want to do rules, regulations, and the money side tends to be, for women in general, a little overwhelming of a concept. But I want to encourage you, whether you are the expert with your finances or you have a great resource to go to, financial understanding really is important to be successful in today's ever-changing monetary system. Future visibility. Sometimes it's overwhelming to make a financial plan or even to say, do I put away $100? Do I put away $500? Do I put money here? Do I put money there? It's really overwhelming if you don't have an objective plan and someone to work with like a financial planner to have a step-by-step objective. You want to retire in 10 years, you want to retire in 20 years, and you want to live on X amount of money. It's really nice to have a concrete plan to step by step follow and know you're achieving the goals you want. Increasing well-being, you just want to have good health and wealth, and you're going to sleep better at night. You're going to have less stress in your life. You're going to have peace of mind. It really is going to affect opportunities that come up to you. It's going to affect just the standard of living that you're able to have. Cash flow is one of my favorite things. The more revenue streams you can have that are active and passive in your life with your personal side and with your business side will really make that financial freedom more possible for you. So the benefits of being business owners, I love birth professionals because we really want to advocate for our families. We really want to give high quality, customized care. We really want to do our own thing. And so many of us start small businesses. And so when I've done my research over the years of how do the elite, how do the rich, how does the upper class think to get to where they're at, where they've got more opportunities in their life, there's very classic things you see. It's business ownership and real estate investing. So as soon as you decide to own a business versus working for someone else, you already are increasing your profitability, your potential of return on investment, your long-term success financially in life. It's really important to accurately monitor the income and expense trends that come from your business, because if you're a business owner and you want to implement some of these tax deductions and tax strategies and you don't have a clue where your money's coming in and out, it's very difficult. Even just the basics of financial planning, if you really don't know how much money you're making or how accurate your fee schedule is, do you have the potential to invest extra funds from your business into your retirement plan, it's very hard to do it if you don't have accurate income and expenses and bookkeeping. Risk reduction. Insurance is one that's hard for midwives because we look at in the moment, and right now I'm fine. Right now I don't have any health problems. Right now no one in my family passed away. It's hard for us with risk reduction and insurance because we have to look at the future, what if situation. So we'll definitely go in more details with that. The other benefits is just having this financial knowledge, having these strategies possible. You're going to increase your staff retention. You're going to make your customers happier. You're going to feel so much more of a cushion to handle the ups and downs of our healthcare system and the services we offer by having this financial foundation in place. You're going to have better products, you're going to have better branding, you're going to have better profitability, you're going to be able to be more successful, and in the end, we're going to be able to serve more families with our amazing midwifery care. So financial planning core concepts, if you can remember from a couple slides ago, there's 3 parts that are really essential to the foundation of your financial plan. You're going to want to do risk management. We're going to want to have cushions for the ups and downs of life and in your business, especially in the startup phase. You're going to want to have insurance to protect against what if situations, the wealth accumulation. That's the fun part. That's the one where you can do home births and get paid for your services. But I always challenge midwives when we're working on business plans and we're working on this financial planning aspect, the more revenue streams you can have into your life and the more diversified your investment options are. And it doesn't have to be the traditional ones that everybody thinks about, stocks, bonds, and mutual funds that many financial planners will discuss. As midwives, as small business owners, there's so many wonderful investment directions we can use that are just not the mainstream. The last part is you've worked so hard to get to where you want to be. Now we're going to want to preserve that wealth that you've accumulated, and we're going to want to diversify where you're distributing it in a tax effective way. There's certain buckets for investment that you pay the taxes now, you pay the taxes later, and it really can affect how your living standards and that those funds you've accumulated, how long they will last, and what your standard of living will be. Someone with $1 million in only a 401k is going to be very different than someone that has $1 million, but half of it's in a Roth account and half of it's in a 401k because of the tax distribution. So we'll talk more in details about that. So risk management, why is it so important? It's definitely not the fun part, but once you get this foundation in place, you'll have a peace of mind. You'll be rock solid with your personal and your business strategies. We want to talk about your car insurance, your house insurance, your liability, your life, your disability, and health. Being able to protect yourself if someone slips and falls, if there's that rare poor outcome with a baby or a mom, you don't want to worry up to 18 years that you could potentially lose everything for your personal assets because you didn't have malpractice, because you didn't have an umbrella insurance. The whole point of insurance is to cover those rarest situations. We're pooling our resources as a community together to help each other out when those rare catastrophic situations happen to someone else. Life insurance is really important for protecting your family. If you're the breadwinner, I know a lot of midwives, their partners stay at home, they're the income stream. If they all of a sudden pass away, life insurance isn't for you directly, it's to protect your family you're leaving behind. Life insurance is just as important with business partners. I really encourage when we do our operating agreements, we're merging practices together to get life insurance on each other. What would be the buyout if the person, your great midwife partner, passes away tomorrow and she is leaving her inner will, her partner, her husband is going to now be your business partner, and that may or may not be a good thing. They don't understand midwifery, they can't fill that other midwife's role, they can't do the care, so you're going to want to be able to buy them out. You're going to want to be able to have funds to get another midwife on the team. And so that's really important to have life insurance on each other. Disability insurance, there's two types. There's short-term and long-term disability insurance. Short-term insurance isn't as big a deal if you've got a good emergency account set up for your personal and your business of 3 to 6 months of your overhead expenses. That is your short-term disability insurance. So I usually push people to try to get that emergency account set up versus the short-term disability. Long-term disability is a really important insurance for midwives to have because we are our most valuable asset. Our knowledge, our skills, our being able to catch babies. It's a very physically demanding job. If you get in a car accident, if you get diagnosed with cancer, if you get dementia and you planned on doing midwifery until you keeled over, but you didn't have a retirement fund set up, how are you going to pay your bills? How are you going to pay your day-to-day expenses that you were very dependent on your time and services being exchanged for? It breaks my heart when I talk to so many midwives across the country that wish they would have known about this, wish they would have had someone have a discussion with them because they went from being financially really strong because they were living paycheck to paycheck. They didn't have all these cushions in place, and they got a major car accident. They were in the hospital for a month. They were single. Their kids are out of the house. They are their only income stream, and they go in 3 to 6 months from being really financially sound, being able to pay for everything, to being homeless and living with their children. And so it's very devastating, and that's the whole point of insurance, is you want to have cushions in your life that will handle all these what if situations. Health insurance isn't usually too hard of a sell to midwives. We know personally how expensive healthcare is and how it could be unlimited what your overall expenses are. If you have a baby and it's in the NICU and you are in a coma, you're in the critical care, and your entire family. So we really encourage you, and there's a lot of great strategies to have your business get group life insurance, and it's a fraction of the cost than do an individual life insurance. So other ways you can decrease the risk management, worker benefits. On top of just thinking of you as a business owner, you also want to think about the team you're creating. A lot of midwives will budget and create fee schedules just to look at the hourly time to pay that person, which is okay if you're small and you want to stay small, but it also makes your practice more vulnerable because most staff members, they have to have a partner that they're dependent on for benefits, or they're going to have to get higher compensated so that they can get those benefits on their own. So if you want to attract the best of the best, you want them to be around long term, and you want your staff to be nice and healthy, you want them to be proactive to take care of themselves versus waiting too long because they don't have good health insurance or they don't have health insurance at all. You can offer multiple benefits to your staff. You can offer, just like you, life insurance insurance, you can offer retirement match programs, you can offer a health savings account, a flex spending account, you can offer practically anything, and those are great strategies. You just have to be the same and fair among all of your staff. So those are things to consider that will definitely help with the risk of your business. We talked a little bit already about the value of an emergency account. We can't predict the future. We can't all of a sudden know that we're going to get locked down or all of a sudden you want to take a vacation for a couple months. Where are the funds going to come from to do the overhead expenses or your startup cost? When we have a unique situation of we plan in 9-month increments with pregnancy, you may give a lot of care the first 6 months to a year of your practice getting going, the staff, the overhead, the maintaining of the whole branding you're creating, but we don't get paid, especially if you're going to do just insurance from the beginning versus cash up front. You're not going to get paid till 3 to 6 months after the birth. So you have 1.5 years of revenue that's not quite coming in. That an emergency account, a cushion for startup funds are really important for peace of mind. If you're living in fight and flight mode all the time and you're stressed out, you're not going to take risk, you're not going to be as creative, you're going to be in scarcity mindset. And I don't want any midwife. I want us to dream big. I want us to handle the highs and lows of what business ownership can bring to us. That's a big shift. A lot of midwives that used to work for someone else and got paid every 2 weeks right from the beginning. When you're a business owner, you're going to invest a lot of time, sweat, and energy from the beginning, and it takes time to get paid and see that. But I stress you're going to get a higher compounding effect of return on investment. Being a business owner, doing it on your own timeline, the return on investment is potentially unlimited versus you work for someone else and you're strictly just exchanging your time for money. So having those emergency accounts in your personal life and your business of 3 to 6 months is really important to be successful. So a lot of times when we do fee schedules, I have the midwives do 5 to 10% of their overhead profit margin coming in each month go into that emergency savings account. And then once they hit the level that their goal was, then we will start moving those funds into another direction, whether it's expansion, it's continuing education, it's a new marketing campaign, but you definitely want to budget and have that possible. The other examples of having the benefits of an emergency account is opportunity funds. If you're renting an office and it all of a sudden goes for sale and they want cash, they're motivated sellers, having money for a down payment to get the loan or completely paying in cash for a deal that comes up really opens up the opportunities and potential that can come your way in your personal life and your business life. The last part I don't stress so much, the earned interest aspect. In the 1970s, they used to earn on a savings account 16-18% interest. And it was easy to do financial planning. You would just live off the interest that you had into a savings account. Well, in today's age, the bond market, the savings account, you make practically nothing. You're not even making you can't even keep up with the rate of inflation. And so that's why financial planning and retirement and long-term strategies are so important, because we live in such a different financial system than 30 years ago. And so you want to keep up with those ever-changing things, especially when you used to do your finances. My dad is really good at okay, you work for a same place forever, you save an XYZ retirement, but that's not the same you want to do now as you did 30 years ago. So wealth accumulation, this is the fun part. This is where you want to create multiple revenue streams in your life. I was reading a statistic that millionaires and people that are financially free have an average of 7 income streams in their life. It doesn't have to be just working. It could be dividends on stocks. It could be you investing in a real estate rental portfolio, and now you have a property manager working on things. You've created a couple different businesses. Some are active income where you're running a wonderful home birth center practice, or you do consulting work, you start some online education, you're selling products, you're renting out your community center, you're getting commissions from lactation consultants, from childbirth educators, you're filling a need in the community, but you're not the directly one giving the care. You're creating systems, you're creating businesses, you're creating value that you get compensated for. So there's a lot of great ways out there. Some make more than others. Bonds, dividends, savings account are lower on the list, but they're also safer. So that tends to be the more safe you are, the lower return on investment it is. And I wouldn't say so much risky. Running a business, you want to have the knowledge, you want to have the skills. You can make unlimited return on investment being a business owner. And think about value creation. What do you love? What makes you happy? Create a business plan, create something about filling a need that you love to do. I don't consider it a job when every day I get to do something I love. I don't envision retiring. I envision gradually going to part-time. I envision doing something that's more flexible so I can travel, because I have an end game of creating a lifestyle where my income streams, my love, my skill set, my knowledge fits the lifestyle I want in time. And so those are really important things to look at: the value creation. Are you making more time and more convenience per people? Do you have certain skills that are very unique to provide to people? The knowledge you have in your head. If you've been a midwife for 30, 40 years, the knowledge, the wealth of wisdom you can pass on and get compensated for. I have a lot of fun with semi-retired midwives creating online courses, creating services where their wealth and knowledge can get out to the masses. They had a need. They're not tech savvy. I have the knowledge of creating online courses, so we create a win-win situation. Building relationships. A lot of times it's not what you know, it's who you know. So the more connections you make, the one thing that was really fascinating to me is you are typically the average income and asset level of the people you hang out with in your warm market. So if you hang out with a lot of people that are all poor and they live paycheck to paycheck, it's going to be a lot harder for you to get to financial freedom versus you push the envelope. You make yourself the weakest, lowest financial status in your new network, but it will accelerate because you're going to get more creative. They're going to connect you with great people. They're going to refer more people to your products and services. So if you really want to get financially free, you want to connect with the best of the best. Go to local networking groups, find a business mentor, find the experts in the field that are doing what you want to do, or they just have the knowledge to create the systems you're looking. So these are different investment options for wealth accumulation. Business ownership and real estate are at the top. Those are my favorite. There's a lot of rules for the different types of business entities you can set up. There's different ways you can do real estate investing. You can fix and flip, you can do rentals, you can do private money lending, you can do rent to own. You can do practically anything, but you also want to have the knowledge and skills and understand, do you want to do it where you're doing all of the painting and the repairs on the fix and flips, or do you want to create a system where you've got a team and now you've got a property manager? And so there's two different directions. You can be self-employed or you can be a business owner. Self-employed is you are exchanging your time for money, and if you stop working directly, the money stops coming in. Becoming a business owner, which is my challenge to midwives and birth workers all over the country, you can still be part of your care, but your care is icing on the cake for income and for the services you're offering. I want your business to run. If you all of a sudden had to leave in 3 months because you want to do some international midwifery work, you want to go travel, you want to break, your daughter's having a baby cross country, I want you to create a strong financial and business setup that your team is so strong that it'll be able to take care of the families and do the services without you being there. Some of the other investment options, these are the ones that more people are familiar with financial planners: stocks, bonds, mutual funds. In today's age, people are making really good money on the stock market the last few years, but it goes in waves, and you want to diversify and you want to have someone closely to work with. You don't just want to put it in there and keep putting the money over and over again. You want to tweak your portfolio set up depending on where we are in the monetary cycle. Commodities people aren't as familiar with. Commodities and real estate are really nice when there's inflationary times, which right now in the United States and around the world, we're definitely in inflationary times. So commodities are gold, silver, industrial metals, tangible items, artwork, anything you can put your hand on that's going to increase in value, more that the currency it's being compared to is decreasing in purchasing power. So anytime there's a monetary reset, especially now, gold and silver are really going to be utilized when we reset our currency and want to give confidence back to the dollars. And so what saves your purchasing power, and it's usually encouraged 5 to 10% of your investment portfolio to have in gold, silver, and commodities. Private money lending, when you get to such a level that there's so much money coming in, which is a problem we'd all love to have, you can now become a bank for other people. You can loan to personal loans, you can loan for businesses to get started, you could be the bank for a property you're selling to someone, the rent to own option. There's so many amazing strategies that you can make that amortize interest rate versus the bank does. Health savings accounts are one of my favorite ones. I don't like to look at it so much as an investment strategy, but it's a really powerful compounding savings strategy for your medical expenses, short-term and long-term. Health savings accounts are something you can set up if you have a high deductible insurance plan. They're different than flex spending accounts. Flex spending accounts, you can put in X amount of money each year, and if you don't use it by the end of the calendar year, it's one of those use it or lose it attitudes. So people will be buying a lot of supplements, band-aids, random things at the end of the year just to utilize a flex spending account. I like the health savings accounts because it's a savings account personally directly in your name. It rolls over every year. With families in 2020, you could do a max of $6,000 for a family into this account. And especially when you're young and healthy, it grows tax-free for medical expenses. You put money in tax-free before you pay your income, and then you take it out tax-free. It's one of the best opportunities for us to have 0% ever paying taxes on something. And the nice thing is, every year, if you have a young, healthy family and you're putting in $6,000, you're putting in $6,000, in 5-10 years, you're going to have $50,000, $60,000 in there. So I challenge people, instead of leaving it into a savings account at a bank, you create self-directed investment accounts. You can actually purchase, you could use it for down payment for a rental property. You can do practically anything for investing, so you're not just growing at 0.1% in a savings account. You now are getting 18, 20, 20% return on investment, your money passively, that will grow exponentially. I mean, if you can create a $750,000 savings account that's HSA specific for medical expenses and retirement, you are going to be set up for life, because our most expensive thing we're trying to grow wealth for when we're older are all the rising healthcare costs. So if we can have an account that you are saving all that tax money in, it's just really, really valuable. So wealth preservation and distribution, this is the fun part. This is after you've decided to retire, you've officially become financially free. You want to distribute things in a very smart way. There's different tax brackets, there's different things you can pull from that are taxed different rates. A Roth account, you've already paid the taxes now, versus in the future you never have to pay taxes again. A 401k, a 403b, those are tax deferred, where you now are going to pay the taxes in the future. You are holding it off, so you're playing that unknown variable of what will taxes be in the future. There's other things like capital gains tax, there's dividends, there's salary, there's regular income. They're all different. Social Security, there's so many things that are part of your retirement plan, and how you accumulate that wealth and what buckets you put it in is just as important as having a planner on your team to what is the smartest way to take my money out to live on. And it gives you peace of mind. That's part of that objective strategy you would make with a financial planner, and you would have a specific discussion, because I am a big fan of working smarter, not harder, because it's just a giant Monopoly game that changes the rules every year. And I've been learning to play that game, and I want midwives and birth professionals to either learn to play the game or have someone on their team as a resource that knows how to play the game. So there's a lot of tax benefits. There's a lot of just your funds are going to last you so much longer when you have these strategies in place, especially for legacy creation. If you're wanting to sell your business, you don't want to sell in 3 to 6 months. You want to plan 2 to 5 years in advance, because there's very specific tax strategies to thinking in advance and getting the best person to buy your business, having that a smooth transition for your families, the business support. You want to think 5-10 years in advance if you're thinking about retiring for your business. Your kids, teaching them about the business, putting your assets in a trust versus just your own name, it's going to help avoid probate, the taxes. The trust is just going to transition from you being the beneficiary to whoever you choose on your will to be your beneficiary. So there's a lot of great things with financial planning that will really cause peace of mind, not just for you while you're living, but when you pass away, we want to create less anxiety and stress for our kids, our family we're leaving behind. So these are some of the things I've already reviewed with the tax benefits. There's different buckets. There's tax-free, which means you pay it now, it counts towards your income, but then it grows forever. As long as you follow the rules, you don't do an early distribution before 59 and a half. It's a really powerful tool. I love having a combination of Roth and self-directed IRAs on the strategy for midwives and birth professionals. Tax deferred is kind of a wild card. If you know you're going to make tons of money the next couple of years and you don't want to be in a higher income tax bracket, it might be wise to put more money in a tax deferred bucket. But I'm always hesitant with tax deferred because you're holding off on an unknown variable. What will taxes be in the future? We actually live in a time where you look at historically the last 50 years, our tax bracket is the lowest it's ever been. So our federal and state governments are printing lots of money, spending like crazy. I anticipate taxes, especially with everything that's happened the last couple of years, in the future they're going to go up. So if you think taxes are going to go up, we try to pay as much of the taxes now and have that peace of mind that you're not forced to take your money out from just one bucket and have no control of your tax bracket. This is where I see a lot of people that don't have a financial planner and work for a bigger healthcare system. They're putting everything away in a 401k and a 403b, and they think, oh my gosh, I have $1 million, but they only have one bucket to pull from in retirement, and that's really, that money goes away so much faster because you have no control of what tax bracket you're going to be into. And so the other one is those taxables, like your individual accounts, your trusts in different ways. So if you get distributions from your company, you get capital gains, you get dividends, they're taxable, but they're in different levels. So these are all different things to think about when you're meeting with a financial planner. And it's not just as important as putting money away for and saving for a rainy day, but putting it away wisely into these different accounts and investment strategies. So wealth preservation and distribution, even the simple thing of picking what business entity you want to start can affect your tax brackets, the tax strategies. If you choose to be a sole proprietor, it's just your social security number that you're starting your business under. There's no complexity with the taxes and the backdrops. You're putting it on your own filing forms, but you're not getting any of the business benefits. You're not getting the tax deductions, the write-offs. You're paying the most on the taxes for that income. So I encourage midwives and birth professionals to start out with limited liability companies. It gives you that breach of protection as long as you're not getting sued directly for your own care and they're suing you. There's little levels of protection you can give yourself with these separate business entities. There's a lot more tax benefits to an LLC. And then once you start making at least $35,000 a year, I encourage midwives and birth professionals to transition to an S corporation, because now you can pay yourself as a combination of a salary and a dividend from your company, which has very different tax brackets affiliated with them. So these are definitely high level strategies that having an accountant, having a financial planner, having a lawyer, where you're meeting as a group every year, twice a year, to keep up, and everybody's ideas are morphing together is really important. C corporations I see once in a while. It's really high level, big birth center franchises, healthcare systems. It's a far more expensive tax strategy, and you have to be making lots of income for a C corporation to make financial sense. Even the tax strategies of different businesses you decide to start. If you start a service business, it is taxed differently than if you start a real estate investing business. If you start online consulting services, they're all so different, these types of businesses, and how they're taxed and all the tax deductions, depreciation, benefits each industry has. Anything that has to do with food, so like farmers, and anything to do with housing, like rental properties, have the most tax benefits available because the government wants the private sector to start those types of businesses. So that's why I love talking to midwives and birth workers about the simple thing of a home birth center practice, owning the building, owning a community center, having the income stream from the rentals of the people within the building, plus all the tax deductions that are available with that building, versus if you rent only, the property manager, the person that owns the building, gets all those write-offs. So the transition of just strategies of buying and selling a practice, you don't typically want to pay a lump sum all at once for a building. You want to pay for it gradually over time. You want the tax benefits to spread over years. And the same goes for someone selling a business. You don't want to sell for $1 million your practice and get $1 million that first year. You're going to pay so much more in taxes versus you set up a contract, you get paid over the next 5-10 years. You're going to have a much lower tax bracket and owe to the government purely because you implement these simple strategies. So common business tax deductions, and I definitely have another section on this. We go really in depth on all of them, but just anything that has to do with starting your business, maintaining your skill set, your credentials, your licensure, your certifications, your staff. If you travel, you're going to a conference, the hotel, the meals, a part of your house, whether your office is a clinic or you are doing a home office, anything that has to do with your business, keep the receipts, work closely with your accountant, and create a habit of keeping track of everything. So I want everybody to start implementing some of these strategies and tools today. Just do some research, start learning about finances, monetary history. My favorite series on YouTube, Mike Maloney, has like just the wealth cycle and just this knowledge about how monetary history just goes in these cyclical cycles. So with all this craziness happening in the backdrops, I feel very confident because I know the next steps of what's going to happen in these monetary resets. So I know how to plan, I know how to prepare, I know how to strategize my portfolio and my services and ventures based on these monetary knowledge. The other thing that's simple for birth professionals and midwives to implement today is just Google searching financial planners in your area, start interviewing them. The cool part is with financial planners, there's a few that are fee-based, but most of them are going to be commissions on the products and services you choose in the backdrops. If you decide to set up a retirement account, you decide to get life insurance, you decide to get group medical benefits with your practice, their knowledge, their resources, their time is not by a 15-minute increment like you traditionally get with an accountant and a lawyer. So I really encourage people to get a financial planner on your team. It's not typically an initial upfront cost. It's something for these things that you should be setting up anyways. They're getting paid on the backdrops to be that support and advice for you. So as an adaptive and resilient nurse entrepreneur, having these financial knowledge, having these skills as a midwife, a birth worker, a doula, whoever you are, it's going to really open up the doors, give better opportunities, decisions for you that you didn't even know were possible, because you truly can dream big. You truly can make anything possible. You can have any life you want. It's just all about the knowledge, the experts around you, and the planning that you have in place. So if you want, definitely go visit my resources at Midwifery Business Consultation. I help so many, most of the time I'm helping midwives, but I help nurses, I help birth professionals, I help small business owners, even women just in general with wanting to start a side hustle, wanting to get some advocacy. So I can help with consulting work, I can help with financial strategies, evaluating your business if you're thinking about buying or selling, great marketing campaigns, strategic planning, and just in general professional development. It's not just about creating a strong business plan, but also developing you to be a strong business owner.